What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host, as always. My name is Jimmy, and we start off every show with gratitude. Want to say thank you to everybody who supports us, all of the students in By the Hood University. We appreciate all the support as always. This will probably be our last podcast of 2020, which has been a rough year for all of us. But we've had a lot of amazing guests and a lot of people who pour into the community. So I want to say thank you guys for all the support you've given us this year. All of our platforms have seen increased traffic over this entire year. Our merch, our courses, we can't say thank you enough because it allows us to pour back into our community because that's what we're all about. But as usual, I got my partner in crime, Corey. Corey, what's going on, good brother?
Hey, every day above ground is a good day. I don't, complaining about life ain't gonna make it no better. But
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And listen, our platform is designed to highlight brothers and sisters who look just like us, who are doing amazing, positive work out in the community. This is a very special episode, man. We have our sister on, someone we've known for, I'm not trying to age ourselves, but, over 20 years at this point, man, maybe even 25. Yeah, man, come on, man. You ain't got to say that, man. We aging ourselves, man, but this is our sister, and she is doing amazing work now in the Baltimore area. And we want to make sure we highlight her and give her flowers while she's here, man. But we have Nairobi Wright on. Nairobi, how are you?
Hey fam, how y'all doing?
Oh man, doing amazing, man. First of all, thank you for your time. We definitely appreciate it, and thank you for being willing to come on and share your story.
Absolutely, I appreciate that y'all even thought of me. Like I consider myself like a very small fish in the pond, so I appreciate that y'all even consider me.
Listen, you're doing good work, positive work.
Hey, the work ain't small.
And the hoodie speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? Like the hoodie speaks for itself. And first and foremost, I also just want to say thank you on a personal level while we have you on sitting in front of our audience because man, y'all sisters, man, y'all helped me down. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I was going through stuff, you, Ish, Kenya, Lisa, all of y'all, like, Naja, everybody helped me down. And I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the same to you. Just before we get started, just like as a sidebar, Jimmy, I tell this story to everybody at my mom's funeral back in January. I'm walking out the funeral, and first person I see was you. Like completely respect. I haven't seen you in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Maybe about 20 years. And I saw you there. I haven't talked to you, prior to the funeral, and so I saw you. It just meant the world to me to see that you took your time out of your day to show up and give me me and my family some support.
Absolutely.
So, and I appreciate that.
It's all love. Absolutely. Yes. I want to start with that. But yeah, like I said, we've known each other for a long period of time. Tell everybody, tell our audience about your story. Where'd you grow up? What kind of family did you grow up in, and all that kind of stuff.
So, I grew up in Philly, born and raised. Interestingly, I was born in a Muslim household. My dad was Muslim. Raised for the early part of my life, Muslim, and interestingly enough, went to school. Went after my mom and dad divorced. Went to Catholic school. So just picture this: in Catholic school, predominantly white Catholic school. My name was Nairobi Abdul Hadi at a Catholic school. So it was I'm sure I was an anomaly at the time, but kind of grew up in Catholic school. Once I got to high school, which is where I met, where we all know each other from, I started at Central. I was there for about 2 years, which is was a really really decent high school in Philly. But I wasn't pulling my weight. I was cutting up. I didn't know I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. Doing everything probably I shouldn't have been doing. Adolescence took over, and after that, I didn't get kicked out of Central. They just asked me not to return.
we got you.
So they asked me not to return. And I went to my neighborhood high school, which was Martin Luther King at the time, which was my first time being in an all-black school in my life. So that was like really interesting to me. And, it felt different. It felt like a different kind of environment for me. After that, graduated, got my act together, honors, graduated, and left and went to the the greatest college on the planet Earth, the Mecca, Howard University.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say it because we all know how you feel about your beloved Howard, right?
And I have a legacy at Howard. Both of my brothers went to Howard, so that's the only school I wanted to go to. In typical Howard form and fashion, they took forever to respond to see if I was, getting in or not. So then that was the only school I applied to. I was like, look, if this don't work, I guess I'll go to the police academy or something. I had no idea what I was going to do. That was all my eggs were in one basket. But they responded, went to Howard. Actually went to Howard for business. I was a marketing major. Because why else Boomerang? You know what I mean?
Man. The life.
It's funny. It's funny because you're not the first person. I mean, Deb tells me that too. Deb tells me I'm making marketing because
you talk about that all the time.
Yeah. But it's crazy because we know how you feel about your Howard. I mean, your IG name is Mecca May, right? And the crazy part is I was supposed to go to Howard, but the only reason I went to Lincoln instead was because more scholarship. To be honest with you, but
I would trade this debt for anything in the world right now. So
I heard that. But let me ask you this question. How did or how has Howard shaped you?
Honestly, Howard runs through my veins, like the culture, the people, the love, the brotherhood, the sisterhood. It's just, it's by far the greatest experience of my life, the greatest period of my life. It can't be compared to anything else. And I know I sound like I'm, play the violin, I'm doing a lot, but seriously, like it's serious. Anybody who's going to HBCU, you know what it is.
Yes. It's a whole different energy.
It feels different, and they always say, it doesn't prepare you for the real world because you're not, you're isolated around only Black folks, but that's the only time in our lives that we really got to just relax, get the tension out of my shoulders, just let me just be. It gives me a chance to just be. I'm around my folks, I'm around my people, and I deal with the bullshit once we leave here. You know what I mean? But by far the greatest experience. And if my kids decide to go to school, I pray that they go to a HBCU, preferably Howard. I would be highly disappointed if they went to Hampton or something like that. No shade.
Oh, I got the little shade at Hampton. Oh, shout out to Hampton though. Listen, real quick though. So after leaving Howard, right? I know you went into social work, right? So first of all, what made you go into social work after being in marketing? What made you want to start go into social work?
So interestingly, I never worked in business at all once I graduated. I graduated Howard, went immediately into the field. So I think the reason why I entered the field of social work is my mom was a sheriff's deputy when she worked for the city of Philadelphia. She was a prison guard and also a sheriff's deputy. And one of her jobs was when children got removed from their homes, she was the person to actually go in and remove the children from their homes if they were being neglected or abused. She would remove them from their homes and then place them with Department of Social Services, and then they would get placed wherever they were going to get placed. And I would always ask my mom, like, well, Mom, damn, what happens to these kids once you pull them from their houses? Like, what the hell? What happens to these kids? And, her answer was always, I don't know. I never knew what happened. What was the continuum of care once they were removed from their home? And that kind of always stuck with me. And I think that drove me to the field of social work. I needed the final answer. I needed to know how this played out in life. I needed to know what happened to these kids. I needed to know and ensure that these kids were okay if and when they had to be removed from their homes. So I think that was always ingrained in me that I needed those answers. I needed those answers to those questions.
Got you. And I always think about that. I always think about like being in that space. Mm-hmm. What kind of stuff do you carry with you? Because I'm pretty sure you come across some situations that the average person wouldn't want to see or even hear or deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I've got horror stories, which I'm not going to share now.
Yeah.
It's not my place, but you just see some terrible things. And when I finished undergrad and went into the field, eventually I realized, okay, I need to get more education because I wanted to be a licensed clinical. So I wanted all my credentials with it. So I went back to grad school, went back to Howard, So I'm a twice bison, not just undergrad, but also grad school.
Okay.
Yeah, that student loan debt is crazy. Come on, Biden. Come on.
I knew the I work in an adjacent field in special education, and so when you work in, those stories that you're not telling that I know that you had, I know what those stories look like. Like, so because the continuum of care also goes through schools, right? So when those kids come from adjudication or they come from those homes, they have to be placed in a school. And I worked in one of those placement schools. I worked in a number of those placement schools before they can get back into the district. They can't just go from whatever situation they were in straight back into the district.
Exactly.
They have to go through, and then that's when they would run into somebody like me who was a teacher in one of those spaces. And so that I commend you, because I know the hard stories, because I get them coming back the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's very commendable work, because man, I could only imagine like the stuff you have to carry with you, So salute to you for that. Let me ask you this though. So now you're in that space, you're doing your social work. What makes you want to take the foray into becoming a real estate investor and developer now? Because you've done some big, and then not only have you just jumped into it, you jumped in with some big prize. It's a big project for someone jumping into it.
Yeah.
What made you jump into real estate?
I'm batshit crazy. One. There's no explanation as to why one would do this the way that I've done it. But so I graduated from postgraduate school. Well, I'm sorry, from graduate school, and I went into the field of I was in mental health, and then I went into the field of CFSA, like investigations of abuse, and like I've done all kinds of realms of, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I can't retire from this. I can't do this until I hit my retirement age. This is a bit heavy and a bit too much for me. So I was, thinking of all kinds of other things, and I've always been interested in real estate. I've always been interested in rehab and changing something that looks really, really bad into something that looks really, really good. So it was kind of a natural progression. I just did a family home initially. It was a diamond in the rough. I purchased, my family purchased a home that was trash. It was horrible. But I walked in, stayed in it for like 2 hours, and this is our next house. And, I saw the vision, put all my sweat equity and work into it, change it into something extremely beautiful. And I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. So I had that one project that was a family home, and I said, you know what? This is something that I want to do on a larger scale, but also I wanted to incorporate my social work background in it, because I also wanted to provide amazing living spaces for people who typically aren't afforded those kinds of living spaces. Just because you are low income doesn't mean you have to live in trash. Just because you aren't wealthy or don't make a certain income bracket doesn't mean that you have to live in the worst possible conditions. So I wanted those two parts of me to kind of come to a point where I can provide something really, really nice to people who deserve it.
Okay, yeah, that's powerful right there. And so you started doing some work in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
And that project you did, that was a huge project. How'd you find that deal, and what made you want to take that up?
So I ended up in Baltimore because. So I used, this is the crazy thing. I used to live in Baltimore years ago. Purchased my first home in Baltimore in 2007. 2000, right before the Great Recession. That 2007, right before the the subprime loan exploded. That 2007, and full transparency, I purchased literally, I feel like the day after I purchased, the market tanked. No, so the day after I purchased, I had buyer's remorse, like, oh my God, what is happening? So I was a victim of that. Literally lost everything. literally lost everything around 2000, like 9, 10, 11. So I try and block out that part of my life.
Got you.
So I was tainted. I was scared to death. Like I was burned by that experience. It's a tough feeling to lose your home. You know what I mean? So that burned me. So eventually, I was just like, I'm not touching it. I was scared to death of home ownership. I was like, I'm not doing this ever again. But after several years, eventually things started changing, and then the family home came, and then I ended up looking back in Baltimore because I couldn't afford DC. DC is absolutely ridiculous. And
my God, yeah, DC is out of control right now.
I think the median house and home price just reached $1 million in DC.
Yeah, for the median, right? So, and that's absolutely insane. Like for the median price, right? That's not the crazy part. Is that's not even like the mean. People hear median, they think average. That's not like what median means. Like the median means that you take the. Now I want to get into that, but the bottom line is for the median price to be $1 million, that is absolutely insane. That used to be Chocolate City.
Yep. No more.
Not no more.
To actually have seen it, to see it, like I actually saw it transition from Chocolate City to what it is now, and to have missed that boat is devastating. Still to this day, whenever I'm like in the city, I'm like, oh, it makes me sick to my stomach to see the hollow ground that people are walking on and have no idea and have no respect for it. But that's another story. So because I couldn't afford DC, because I couldn't, move in that market, I said, okay, next best thing is to go to Baltimore. Really inexpensive properties. There is a need to revamp these communities and these neighborhoods and these blighted buildings. There's such a strong need for it. So, I just said, let me try it. So I was just looking. So, okay, let's go to this very specific deal that the two properties that I purchased. They were on the MLS. It wasn't an auction. It wasn't a wholesale deal, nothing like that. They just happened to be on the MLS, two adjacent buildings right next door to each other. And they were beautiful buildings.
Yeah, they were.
So I looked at it and I said, I love the way these buildings, I love the facade, I love everything. Let's go see it. So I got my realtor, we went and saw it. And as I tell everybody, I did the worst possible thing that I could have done the minute I walked into there, which is I fell in love with it. And it was just floors. There were no steps. The back wall was missing. There was nothing there. It was nothing but this, 11-foot ceilings. I mean, it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And I just fell in love. The owner, he owned both of the properties, asking something stupid, something astronomical for it. I called Ish, who, I don't make a decision financially without at least having a conversation with her, like, Ish, oh my God, what do I do? So I called her, and, her common, advice, give them something disrespectful.
Yo, shout out to Ish.
Like, I don't even know, something extremely disrespectful on like a tuna fish sandwich on the side, like something insane. So they was like, nah, you tripping. And I said, you're right. I probably am. So we negotiated. We negotiated back and forth a little bit, and I ended up negotiating a deal where I would pay, a portion of it. I would finance the first one, because I would do a 203K finance for that one, so that I can do the rehab and not have to, won't be too strapped for cash to finish this.
Yeah.
So I financed one. I said, okay, I'll give you this amount for this one, finance it, and then I'll give you 20 grand cash for the second one. And we ended up coming to an agreement, and we ended up getting both of them for less than they wanted one initially.
Okay, nice. So you got yourself a deal right there.
Yeah, so I didn't mind paying a little extra, for the finance one. I paid the price, period. It's just I just negotiated which one paid what, and I wanted to be out of pocket the least amount of cash as possible. And
got you.
It worked out.
That's awesome too, because also about it being that big of a deal, once you go through something like that, you probably feel like you could do any building, because that's a huge building.
Yeah, I mean, I died several times doing that project.
I'm glad you came back to life, Roby. I'm glad you came back to it.
So because I had never done a project that big. I had never done a project that extent. I mean, it had nothing. It had no pipes. It had no walls. It had no plumbing. It had no ductwork. It had nothing. It was just sidewalls, front facade, and floors. Not even steps. I didn't see upstairs till I think months into the project. Probably they must have got some stairs because it was crazy.
Yeah.
But what I did learn from that project is everything can be fixed. Everything can be. I mean, people build a house on a dirt ground and build up an entire house. So if anything breaks in it, you can fix it. It's just going to cost, and you got to figure out how to get it done. But it can be fixed. It's not like, oh my God, something happened and I lose my entire investment. It's over and done with. And that's what
right there is a powerful point. I gotta slow down on that one. Everything can be fixed, right? Because a lot of times you talk to people who are investors or developers, and they get like so, like when it comes to a house, they get so upset. Like this has to be this way. Like everything can be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
What you just said is like real because you can take a piece of ground, like you said, and build the structure there. Everything can be fixed, right? Some things cost more than others, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can't fix in a home.
Absolutely. And once I got that into my mind, it put me at ease a lot. Then the issue was, well, damn, how much is this going to cost? But that's a whole different set of concerns. But the issue at hand is going to be fixed. It has to be fixed. You got the professionals in place to fix it. So, let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I got a question for you. I have a question for you because Jim, you slandered, and I mean absolutely slandered, the professionals that work inside these homes sometimes. So did the professionals that work inside your home, were they as bad as Jim says? Were the contractors as terrible as Jim says they are?
I just got back with them. No, not just me. A lot of people do, but
No.
I'm also in Philadelphia. There's a lot of trash contractors in Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure it's trash in Baltimore too.
So, I still got beef with my contractor.
Damn.
But he does amazing work. My contractor does amazing work, and he's fast. He's not the cheapest, but he's fast as hell, and he does great work. There was some stuff I had issues with him, yes, and you're gonna have issues with any contractor. But there were some times I wanted to kill him. He was driving me crazy. Like literally, I was losing my mind with this guy. But the crazy thing is, I would 100% use him again. And the reason why is because, like I said, he does great work. He's fast. His paperwork is on point. And, the thing that I know his shit.
Yeah.
If I get a new contractor, I'm going to have to figure out their shit and figure out how to mitigate their shit. I don't want to have to do that. I know my contractor's shit. So I know how to mitigate all the things that I know are going to come. I know if he got an issue with A, B, C, or D, I know what we got to do to make sure we address A, B, C, or D. If I get another contractor, I have no idea. I don't want to have to learn somebody else again. And trust me, they're going to have some stuff. All of them have some stuff. I'd rather deal with the contractor wwhose shit that I know and I can deal with than some unknown shit.
Hey man, look, does he come to Philly or he just down there in Baltimore? Right? Because listen, paperwork straight, it's fast and does good work. Like that's hard to find. Those three things right there are hard to find.
But he's not the cheapest, so you
gonna pay for that. Yeah, you're gonna pay for that.
You gotta pay for it because he actually does what he says he's gonna do.
Yeah,
so you're gonna pay for that.
As they say,
the problem is when you pay for it and they don't do what they say they're gonna do.
Exactly. And that's when you really got a problem. But he always. And the good thing was, when you do it like a 203K kind of situation, you have that HUD consultant that is the middleman between the bank. So ain't nobody running off with nothing.
That's true. That's true too. But also, some contractors can't even take 203. Like you have to have all your stuff straight to be able to even work with that.
Yep. And his paperwork is phenomenal. His documentation is phenomenal. His bids are phenomenal. Like everything is broken down how it needs to be broken down so that we know where we can cut costs and where we can't cut costs. You can always cut costs, on materials. You can pick different. So everything is kind of broken down so instead of one big number and then you don't know kind of how you can fudge those numbers.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to see that also that you're doing stuff in Baltimore because like you said, that overflow from DC, I mean, the value will be there pretty soon. The only people I see like you and Shot the Charm City Buyers. I know they're out there doing their thing too.
Absolutely. Actually, it's so interesting. They do great work. Charm City Buyers, shout out to Kiera and Khalil and the whole Next Gen family. They do amazing work in Baltimore. You hear me? I mean, to the point where I joined Next Gen, but
Okay.
I joined Next Gen after I had already purchased my properties and was in the process of rehabbing and all that stuff because I saw the value in that group. It's not I didn't it's not like I was trying to get my foot in the door and I needed somebody to help me. No, but I see the value that they provide to the members of the cohort. I see the value that they provide to the community, and I joined them after I'm already invested. So it's not just for people who need help navigating this new process. Even if you are in it, like the level of community development that they're on to, like it's just amazing stuff that they're doing. So definitely shout out to them.
Yeah. I see their work from a distance, and it's definitely appreciated. So yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah.
And you're continuing to invest in Baltimore. You got a new project?
So actually, the project that I just posted recently on my Instagram is a group project with some folks in at Charm City.
Okay.
So that's our next project that we're working on. So I'm really, really excited about that. So this will be my first flip project.
Okay.
Everything else I've gotten was buy and hold, but this will be my first flip project, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, there's some
you making a move.
Listen, you're doing a thing, man. And the crazy part is like there's some big, beautiful homes in Baltimore. Like every time I see y'all post, I'm like, yo, that's in Philadelphia we have them too, but there's only certain areas that we have them. Like, you go to Germantown, they got some big, beautiful homes too. But Baltimore, even though those row houses are just huge.
Yep, they're massive inside, huge, tall ceilings. They're amazing spaces, and it's just I just know once everybody is onto it, they're gonna scoop everything up. They're gonna take and then it's gonna be enough for DC.
They're gonna have to beat me to it because I got a question for you off air.
Try to get that to Baltimore now.
My question is about people. I don't like to do out of town stuff unless it's a team in place. You know what I mean? So I got
All right, man. Say, yeah. We'll talk. Come on, man. Save that. This is about Nairobi and her story, man. Because I think it's very powerful, right? For to see someone, who dedicates their life to social work into the community, but then also recognize you can do the same. You kind of like merge the two things together, like the whole business part, but also the social part. And you're also active in terms of preaching people about the power of ownership, as are we, right? As evidenced by your hoodie, which is amazing. And I want to make sure I put the link to that so everybody can go support, your movement of, because I think it's good to even see stuff like that, right? The hoodie, own some shit like that. That's the motive, right? So, once you got into that and you started selling that, what made you want to like start to spread the gospel?
That's so interesting because nobody really asked me that question, and it's interesting because we always used to see hashtags with a name afterwards, where something tragic is happening. We started associating hashtags with a very somber or sad or violent or oppressive kind of thing. With the hashtag Sandra Bland or hashtag Trayvon Martin. There's always something negative, and I wanted to kind of change the narrative around it a little bit and try to promote something that's uplifting and positive so that we aren't only identified by a hashtag in a negative sense. Absolutely. Hashtag Sandra Bland, hashtag remembrance. Remember those people and make sure you keep saying their names. But also, let's also promote something positive for us as well. So that we're not always inundated with just the negative around it. So that was kind of how it started, sort of. And I just thought of it one day and was like, let me just try this out. And I just did it. It really was on a whim. I went on, YouTube, figured out how to do it, and just did it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Like, keep spreading that message because that's the hashtag. Own some. Yeah. It's funny because I saw the hashtag when you start. I was like, that's the hat because I use the hashtag all the time too, right? But I think it's
I probably owe you some money or something because I don't know. Like
no. Listen. I'm cool with it. Because when I started it years ago, I stole it too. Though I'm gonna tell you where I got it from originally. Where I got it from originally was Ron Finley, the dude that says grow some shit. Right? He's to always like he used to be out there preaching about like growing plants and all that. And that was his thing. So I said own some shit. But like, look, our hashtag is by the hill. When I'm all about community. So when I saw you doing it, I thought it was powerful. I was like, listen, we gotta support that. Like we all family. So it's about but I think it's fire to read that. Like, so like even when I saw Malik with his shirt that says like real estate insurance, I was like, having these messages on shirts are different than like, hashtag RIP this or that's why I'm glad that was your response, because I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to ask you that because it is powerful to see that, because you have a couple different like logos that I see you guys wear. Own some shit is one of them, but definitely for the folks watching, please make sure you go support that, because like these messages, these affirmations, we want to put them out there to the community. It's definitely powerful to do that. Yeah. So what's the future? What's the future hold for you? What are you looking to do now? Further expand your real estate empire? What are you trying to get into? What's the future?
Yeah, definitely more real estate. And like I think we was on Clubhouse couple days, maybe last week or something like that.
Yeah.
Another part of my story that I really didn't touch on is kind of how like my family is so interesting, because everyone in my family has this strong entrepreneurial spirit in them. My brothers, my sisters, my nephews, like everybody is doing something powerful, doing these things. Got a sister who has a STEM school. I have a nephew who runs KRT cycling. I have my brother. He has a vintage like furniture kind of place. My other brother's in medical or medicinal marijuana, and it's another sister in real estate. Like everybody's in stuff, and we've always been in our own lanes, in our own different silos working. We've always supported each other, always as best as we can, but we're always like kind of in these different kind of silos. But what we've started doing as of late, post COVID, once we've been communicating more to check in and make sure everybody's okay, having these Zoom calls that everybody's doing, we really started saying, well, damn, how can we start connecting all these dots? How can we start funneling each one of these businesses together so that, we're all, working together, for the greater good. So, that's where I am now, like trying to figure out how we can do things collectively as a family. And I was saying to Jimmy, whoever was on that Clubhouse, generational wealth is always, talked about coming from higher up to us and then passing down. But you also got to think about passing things to the side and reaching out to the side, holding hands and coming together and trying to figure out a way to kind of keep this going. So I want to continue on with this real estate. Like, this is what I love to do. I am passionate about it. Like, I'm just I'm getting my formulas together now to figure out how many doors do I need to stop working my regular. That's my formula. I'm just trying to get there. But I'm also think so. I don't know if you guys heard of Up North Pizza.
Up North. Oh, I did. Okay, yeah.
Interesting. My brother is owner of that as well.
Is he? I didn't even know that.
Okay. So I go eat it.
No, Down North. I'm sorry, Down North Pizza. It's in Strawberry Mansion, I believe.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Amazing stuff. So he's thinking of possibly expanding, and he had the amazing thing about that is it's operated by ex-offenders, and he puts the storefronts and properties that have apartments up top, so the ex-offenders also have places to live. So I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
That's amazing work.
He's considering. He's brilliant. He's shout out to Muhammad Abdul Hadi, that's my brother. So he's if he's thinking about expanding, why not come down to Baltimore? Like that program would work anywhere.
Yeah,
that will work in any city. So I'm just open to doing whatever it is that empowers the community, that helps the community, puts a couple of dollars in my pocket. And I just want to do well. I always said at the end of the day, I just want my good deeds to outweigh my bad, and that's all I'm trying to do every day.
That's powerful because I mean that's the thing. That's I want to focus on that because it's possible to do well and make a couple of dollars at the same time. Like you can actually do both, right? But
Yeah.
when you shared that on Clubhouse the other day, it was like profound for me because I never thought about it that way. I mean, I went after I got off Clubhouse, I started texting my cousins and called my brother. I'm like, I feel bad now. No, because what she said, because she's right. When we talk about generational wealth, we always talk about top down. Like, what are you going to leave the next generation, or what's the generation before you going to leave you? But we don't talk about reaching to the side. And shout out to Tracy. Tracy talks about that in terms of like networking too. She says a lot of times we always trying to network up. We want to network with someone who we assume has more than us, right? And her thing is network to the side and help each other come up at the same time. And it's kind of like I got a similarity in what you're saying in terms of like with family, right? Look at your brothers, your cousins, your sisters, and pull each other up, right? I think that's very powerful, man. And I think a lot of us should really practice that. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And your brother's work is amazing too. We got to get him on here to talk about that program because I know exactly what you're talking about, but I didn't know that was their full program. I didn't know that was their program in terms of like having the ex-offenders. That's the way they tied it together, right? Starting where you started to where you are now and putting the work you're putting in now. What do you think has been the absolute biggest hurdle that you had to overcome to get you to where you are now?
I overanalyze everything.
Okay.
Overanalyze everything to the point it gives me analysis paralysis. It really does. Because I don't want to fuck up. That has always been my biggest fear. I don't want to fuck up. So I run the numbers over and over. I run things constantly. I'm always trying to figure out, okay, well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? And it becomes a lot. So that's been the biggest hurdle. But I feel like I'm getting better at it. I feel like I'm getting more in the space of fuck it, let's just do it and see how it works out. Because like this big project that I'm working on now, like I didn't do it by the book. I didn't do it, how most people would tell you to do a project like this. But I want people to learn from me. I want to be able to teach people how to do things. And more importantly, I want to teach people how not to do things. Like, look how I messed up. Like this is not the way to do this. So make sure you don't do this. So if anything, I'm an example of, if not what to do, absolutely what not to do.
Got you. All right, that's powerful. Last question I have for you is this though. What is a book that has inspired you? Your favorite book that you read or have read?
I'm not a big leisure reader. Like when I was in school, I had to read, and it was overwhelming. So I didn't read for pleasure much. But what I can say, and this is the easy answer, but sometimes the easy answer is the best answer. So my relationship with money was always kind of like I had an odd kind of relationship with money. It wasn't a big thing to me. I wasn't didn't want to be a billionaire, but I wanted to be comfortable. But I never was. I realized I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do to be comfortable. I'm comfortable. Make sure my kids are comfortable. Make sure my family is comfortable. And I had a paradigm shift when Eve sent me like a book to like something she was writing, some stuff that she was writing on. So I'm looking and I'm reading and I'm like, yo, like this is some good shit. Like this is some great stuff. Like, and it was resonating with me. This was years ago. And then, when she finally combed through all the kinks and got everything ironed out and put out the full package, Mud to Millions.
Yep.
It is, I'm telling you, it's such a simple book. And I don't mean that in any kind of negative way whatsoever, but it is such a simple book. You don't finish that book with any questions like, well, how do I do? No, it is laid out in the simplest of terms how to get where you need to be. and how to do it. And I think that was the kick in the butt that I needed to kind of change my paradigm with my relationship with money, and how to get to a space where I am comfortable and maybe wealthy, maybe rich at some point, but just in a good, decent financial space. And also for my children to also be in that space, not when they're 40 years old trying to figure it out, but when they're 12 and 14, getting started, knowing how to get to that space. So by far, it's a perfect book for me and also a perfect book for my kids.
Yeah, I was hoping you said that. I was hoping you actually said that because we definitely promote Isha's book. It's like we don't promote the purple and black books no more. All we do is like we promote our own folks.
Yeah.
And Mud the Millions is absolutely powerful. I read it, and it's written in a way also is like like someone's having a conversation with you. So shout out to each. That book is powerful. Make sure you go get it. I'm gonna put the link to that in the description as well. Mud to Millions, because it's definitely a powerful read.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm absolutely glad you said that. I was thinking, I was like, well, let me see where she's going with this. You know what I'm saying? Let's see where she's going with this.
Yeah,
Listen,
it's such an easy, quick read, and it's so good. It's like it's so profound. It's like so spot on, so boom, like that's it.
And a lot of it's about discipline, right? So, man, that's dope. Listen, I also want to mention this too while you're on here. You have an amazing design sense, right? I saw a post you put up where you did like a before and after of your kid's room. Did you do that yourself?
I did. So yes.
I was like, you missed your calling. You could have been like interior designer. Like,
so look, this is what happened. My kids, I'm not gonna go too far in the weeds, but they were at their dad's for a semester, which never gets to happen because their school is closer to here. But because of COVID and virtual learning, they could be anywhere going to school, which is absolutely amazing. So we got a semester off. I got a break for a semester where they went to dad's, and I said, they're coming back home. I want to do something special for them. So I said, okay, I'm gonna redo their room. So initially I did my daughter's room because it was her birthday. She'd been asking for her room to get done for a long time. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it. Then when hers got done, I looked at my son's room like, oh my God, I can't have him coming home to this shit. And his room is just amazing. So I said, okay, let me just do their room also. And the trippy thing about it is I never went to a single store, ordered everything online. They delivered everything. Like everything was ordered on Amazon, Wayfair, not to get plugs anymore. Like just order everything online. They shipped it to the house, and that was it. Just did everything, and that was it. And they loved it. I don't think I've seen them about twice since they've been home.
I wouldn't come out my room either. You did that.
Yeah, it was like in the way you posted it online, it was like one of those HGTV before and afters.
Yeah,
I said, damn, I really missed her calling, and she killed that.
Yep. So they loved it. I enjoy it. Like I enjoy doing those kinds of things. I like beautifying things. I like changing things from not so good to really, really good. And because you feel good about yourself when you're in a space that looks good. So this virtual learning thing is hard for everybody. This COVID shit is trash. It's hard for everybody. So at least if you're gonna be stuck in this house, at least be around things that make you feel good, and you feel good in your environment. So that was the whole point of doing it.
Yeah, that was dope. So I'm pretty sure that your tenants probably love you too, because I'm pretty sure you beautify their places. So
I gave a nice little welcome basket.
I saw that too.
I was like, oh man,
I saw that too.
What is wrong the whole time? She showed
that on your time and space. I need one of those for my next tenant.
Listen, I got you. Listen, we're gonna send you a box of those so you can take care of that. Listen, I thought that was amazing. I was like, man, I feel bad as a landlord. I ain't never sent nobody a welcome basket. Like, that's fire.
But also, I'm a little biased. I'm gonna do it for all my tenants, but it's so interesting. This particular tenant, and I know we got to do it, but I just want to kind of.
No, it's fine. Take your time.
You got time.
This particular tenant, I was having a hard time how do I find a good tenant that fits this? What I want to do. The tenant that I actually got, she's a student at one of the universities. She graduated from Howard. I mean, she could have led with that. Now
there you go. That's all she had to put on her application. She could have left everything else blank.
But she was in a pharmacy fellowship program that it's a 5-year program. They get us stipends. So she had the things that she needed. Financially, she was good because even though COVID, the school paid for housing, all that kind of stuff. She was young, young Black girl. Like I felt a connection. I was like, you know what, this is the perfect book for her. Hopefully she reads it at some point while she's living here. Hopefully it'll be 5 years during this whole program. And I want to make a good impression on the tenant. So oftentimes people think that tenants should be grateful to a landlord. Thank you for letting me stay here. Thank you for renting to me. I'm grateful to my tenants. Thank you, Thank you for choosing this space. Thank you for feeling comfortable enough in this space. Thank you for paying your rent on time every single month. Like, I am grateful to my tenants, and I see it the other way around oftentimes. And I want, if I got a good tenant, I want them to stay, not forever, but for a decent amount of time and I want their next step to be purchasing their own home.
No, that's a great point because and me and Corey talk about this all the time. When I say every business, no matter what business, is a customer service business.
Every single one.
Every one of them, right? And the great thing about a landlord, and that's another reason why, like, we start with Buy the Hood. So Buy the Hood, like we always say, is not necessarily just about real estate. It's about buying into each other and loving each other. But when you are able to provide quality housing, and you mentioned that earlier, right? You go in spaces where you find a lot of like slumlords, and like in my experience, most of the slumlords don't look like us, but they rent to us.
Yep. But
when you can provide a quality housing and provide that experience, so I'm actually going to steal that from you. In my next project, I'm going to do a welcome basket. that's inspired by you, because you had the fresh waters out there, the flowers. I was like, oh man.
When you think about it, anytime you move, the last thing you think about packing is your toilet paper. Like, that's the most thing you need is some toilet paper and a shower curtain. How many times you moved into a new space and taken a shower in a butt naked shower because you don't have that's typically how it goes. So I give them a shower curtain, the clear shower curtain, the background one, and you can put your special one up whenever you get it. Some toilet paper, some water, some hand soap, a toothbrush, and some toothpaste. Like little things like that, just to get you through the first couple of nights until you can get to Target, until you can get to somewhere to get the things that you need.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
You like the bomb. Like you like, I would have never listened. I think I'm a customer service person. I would have never in a million years thought to do that. Like,
and I think I get that from my mom, because she was always extremely hospitable. Like, whenever anybody came to our house, they left with shit. They left with some clothes or some food or a piece of furniture. Like, it's not beyond us to give out furniture. Like, oh, you need a chair? I got one downstairs. Take care.
That's dope.
Take care of folks. Like, it's a village, and I'm not just here to. It's bigger than buildings. It's about building. You know what I mean?
I think we found ourselves a show title. That was hard. It's bigger than buildings. It's building. Yeah, write that down. Yeah, go tweet that out. That's a T-shirt too.
No. I'm serious. Put that on the shirt.
Yeah, that's a T-shirt right there. It's bigger than buildings. It's building. No, but you are right, and it's to the point now where if any of your tenants that believe you can go somewhere else, they're gonna be like, "Where's my basket at?" Like, my last place, I got a basket. Like, what's this? So I think that's pretty dope. Listen, Nairobi, I just want to say thank you again for your time. Thank you for sharing your story, man. Thank you for being a good friend. Thank you for everything. But I really appreciate you sharing your story with our audience, because I'm pretty sure that there'll be someone who could take something from this. A lot of us are doing amazing work out there, but we come from all walks of life, and we all have different ways. So that's the one thing I want to talk about too, because having conversations with young folks online, they're always comparing themselves to this person or that person. Everybody has their own journey, right? So you have your journey, Corey has a journey, I have my journey, but as long as we're out here trying to do positive work, that's what it's really all about. And we see you trying to do positive work and want to highlight you and give you your flowers. So thank you.
I appreciate that so much, guys. Like, I really, really do. And y'all always shout me out, like, whenever. And it, like you said, give people flowers while they're here. Like, it really feels good. It feels like I'm doing something right. It feels like I'm doing something positive. I'm doing something good, which is all I want to do. I want to make my mom proud. I want to make my kids proud. I want to do good shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do good shit.
Another T-shirt. Man, Corey, you got the last words for you? Got to hit, good brother.
I love the work that you do, right? So it makes me feel proud to have just been in the same presence, in the same circle as, like, doing this show, right? We get to talk to a lot of different people, and the energy I always walk away from these joints feeling energized because of the work that the people are doing, and the way that you are helping people, and the way that your brother is helping people. And it's not just like you said, it's not just about the buildings, it's about building. And a lot of people can't see that, and so it's a warm feeling inside, right? Because the world kind of cold, but then when you get these warm feelings, it just feels different. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really do, guys. I really do.
Yes, and to our audience, make sure that you follow Nairobi. We're going to put her Instagram link, all her different information within the description of this show. Whether you're watching on YouTube, and if you listen to the audio, we're also going to put it in the show notes. Make sure you follow and see what she has going on, and she continues to do the work in the community and build up Baltimore and beyond. So thank you again. And for our folks out there, as we always say, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Game elevates, and we'll see you guys next year in the next episode. Peace.